This is how we play.
I didn't think I was making this show, and if I was, I didn't think I would be filming it immediately. But here I am, apparently, so I'm doing that. Uh-oh. Totally unprepared. I have no idea what I'm doing. So, there's a concept well known. Oh, these will probably be about 5-minute long videos. This should be a pilot, so I should get to that. What the hell is this thing? I'm going to talk about most particularly Dungeons and Dragons, but generally interpersonal role playing as a kind of environment and hobby and thing. And one of the reasons that I think that's important is because there's a lot of stuff out there that people don't realize how deep they have to get into to find answers to some of the questions that they've got. Got a whole community of 70 odd people that I game with on and off who know almost nothing about this game beyond the stuff that is done for them by programs and dungeon masters and whatnot anymore, or that's done at a table that they do sort of collaboratively. Whereas answers to their questions in the depth of the community are 20 to 50-minute long videos that they're never going to watch. Whereas 15-minute long videos featuring cartoon characters that are filled with things that are gross misinformation are extremely popular, to my extraordinary exasperation. As such, I've decided I have to have things that are more correct and even smaller, which is the opposite of everything I do. And they have to be regular, too. No YouTuber worth his salt does things regularly. How dare you? How dare I? What hubris is this? And it shall be the pride that cometh before a fall, no doubt. However, so I want to answer the question, can you play it wrong? Yes, obviously. It's so funny because the Wizards of the Coast official answer to the question, can you play it wrong, is if everybody's having fun, then no. Well, then yes, because you just said if. Therefore, if not everybody's having fun, then you're doing it wrong. So, yeah, you can do it wrong. That statement in of itself says that. But furthermore, that presupposes that we have this concept of slow down, Lamp. You're trying to say two things at the same time. You only have one mouth. Yeah, I may be two-faced, but I can only speak out of my mouth at one point at a time. Anyway, the issue that I first immediately have to address there is just because it's possible for people to find enjoyment out of the way that they do something doesn't mean that it's the only way to do it, or that that's the way that they should be doing it. There might be a way that is even better for them, that they would enjoy more, that they're not going to experience if they don't have the opportunity, right? Like if you're just only ever playing Dungeons and Dragons at one table with one group of people, you may have increased familiarity with that group of people, but there's a lot of possibility for socialization you're not getting out of that. There might be other play styles you haven't encountered. There might be other ways of DMing beyond the only DM or assistant DM that you've dealt with up to this point. So, and that's just one part of this whole pie. For example, right now, a lot of what we do is West Marches, but everybody that comes into West Marches is one of two concepts for how this game is meant to be played. Either the ordinary long-form game where people get together, or even, I guess, a one-shot if it's pre-planned, but the group of people might be fixed or whatever. The point is, they're used to getting together at a set time with a set group of people in order to have a story take place largely prepared by a dungeon master or read out of a book that leads to a particular conclusion. Or doesn't, and you just play the same game for 30 years. People have literally done that. And the other is the idea that they can go online and be using tools like D&D Beyond, be in a game that they are going to play within hours of saying that they're looking for a game, and then not do that again for 2 weeks or something. And that's perfectly acceptable, and that's the way people play. Those two things are radically different from one another, and also radically different from a West Marches style of play. Which nobody in our community can really handle. I'm not even doing a terribly good job myself, but that's mostly because I'm extremely, I am spread very, very thin as a student who is ill trying to get into. I thought I had somebody in chat, and I was like, but wait a minute, I'm not streaming. Anyhow, what was I talking about? Dungeons and Dragons, presumably. Anyway, there is lots of things you could be doing that are different, and they might be better for you. The other thing is more fun than what you're experiencing now for you, and unless you have that experience, you won't know. So go out there, explore. Hopefully this show does something like that for you, but the episodes have to be very quick, and I'm wasting a lot of time. Also, The other issue that I take with the way that that statement is being used is that it is entirely possible for people to, like, it basically means the right way to have fun does not exist. That's a much more correct way of putting what I think they mean there. Not, are you playing it wrong? The answer is yes, because you didn't follow the rules closely enough. What they mean is, and they say this in the book itself, disregard some of the rules if and when it is necessary to do so. And dungeon masters have to. You can't play the game with an encyclopedic knowledge of the rules at all times, because you're going to be distracted by the game, by your friends at the game, by events going on in life around you, the meta game, as it were. That's inevitable. And if you are going to stop, and we learned this from 3rd edition the hard way, by the way, if you stop in order to deal with every little thing that comes up, you're hardly going to get any playing done. The show must go on, as they say. So in the moment, you have to do things you have to do in the moment and keep the game running. That means to them that there is a right way to play the game approach is wrong. And I'm saying that too, by the way, because if you look at what I said earlier, you'll see that finding something that is more fun for you being more important than assuming that there's a right way to play the game is still the answer to the problem. I just realized that there's like a hole in the wall behind me caused by this chair that I've generally managed to keep invisible, but the cushioning element on the chair that I usually rely on is missing. Anyway, most of this has to be cut out for time. I suppose it's going to have to be the end. So there'll be more episodes of this, and you will see, because I don't get to do this anymore, but I've already spent too much time, and the episode can only be 5 minutes long, and it's already 50% longer than other shit that I'm going to be doing for a while. Fuck me, this is hard. Goodbye!